Welcome to the Never Forget Hidden Histories podcast. I'm your host, Michael Gilkison, and your co-host is Heidi Brown Gilkison. And this is the podcast where we stop being polite and start getting real.
That's been used already, Michael.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's like MTV Real World. Something has been done.
Welcome to the Never Forget Hidden Histories pod. And we have a special guest, Mr. Brandon Kroll of Krollology 101 on Instagram.
This is a really cool. Our
Melton
first guest on our second ever episode, and it's this guy that has been doing such cool stuff on Instagram.
Yeah, I know.
This is awesome.
This is better than
thanks,
Brad
Brandon.
Pitt for me because I watch all your slides and it blows my mind. I'm like, yes.
Well,
and then I share it with
your
people.
Comment saying you really should start a show. I was like, dude, for a year and a half, I've had a show. How does this person not know I have a show? I put it in stories. I pin it in comments. I put it in inscriptions.
You have to forgive.
Dude.
You have to forgive Michael. He's
algorithms. I'm censored up the wazoo too, so I don't blame him for that. But sometimes I'm like, guys, when you do see that one story, go and follow and don't suffer from your digital arthritis. Hit that
Daily Manna. You got to link Daily Manna podcast to your IG though.
It is. It's in the inscription.
Is it in the links?
As far as I know, I'm pretty sure I put it in there. Unless it's when it moved when I updated. I can check.
No, I won't.
That's a great name.
We'll get it. Yeah,
that's a great name.
I just found this out from a Jewish guy. Basically, manna means what is it? So I'm basically asking, what is it daily?
Oh,
wow.
I love that. I do that daily as well, quite often.
That's what we all should, But I meant it originally as bread, and then Revelation 2:17 was talking about reveal the hidden manna to him that are basically seeking the ways of God. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do,
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I was just telling Michael this a couple months back. Remember, Michael, that I don't really like the idea of manifesting, but I like manifesting, which just means rejoicing every day, being grateful for what God provides.
Oh yeah.
I have a shirt. It was only for kids. I told her I kind of want to get it because I have the mascot called Mr. Toast, and it says "Mind your manners."
Oh, that's a good one.
I was like, yeah, I think that's kind of cute, and I could wear it. I could support that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why did get
Brandon?
puns,
are you on
too much?
Yeah.
I got banned 2 years ago.
Oh, you're banned from TikTok.
No, yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
I
didn't even look for you there.
It was literally doing a Gollum. It was literally doing a Gollum impersonation versus MAGA being Gollum, and then me asking counterpoint questions, and that was the thing that sent them over the edge.
What? That's weird.
I was like, really? All the other stuff, no, but that was the one that made you kind of like, no.
Yeah,
it's so random. The TikTok algorithm is so random.
I went viral with one particular clip, and I'm glad. And then I was getting notifications for the longest time, even though I got kicked of that
on TikTok.
It was still getting comments and all this stuff, and I was like, dang, it's actually still reaching people. I saw it through somebody else's account.
What was the video?
It was MAGA, the Great Deception, and I was breaking down after Trump's ear getting clipped.
Oh, dude.
I still have it. I've uploaded it before, and it's on YouTube. It's probably my most popular short on YouTube.
So I was thinking about that clip today, whether it was you that posted it, but is it the one that shows the flag being lowered for the photographer?
No.
Okay.
I have posted that one before. Mine was more of a rant, breaking it down, like you don't know he's being sought for a Davidic bloodline, and going through the whole thing of how people are being deceived and acting all cocky about it. And it really worked with TikTok with the musical background. It just had this nice momentum where people were like, damn, I think I'm convicted. And I had older individuals saying, I think this is the sign. They're telling, when God says he's going to send out the Elijahs or whatever. I was over here like, wow, I hope so, but I don't know. But I have a pretty good hunch. I don't know, but I keep getting proven right every couple of months with something. Like I just predicted what was I predicted Trump's ear getting shot, and literally within 2 to 3 months that happened. And some guy that listened to Cult of Conspiracy, he came over. He says, didn't you like predict that it was going to happen if he's an Antichrist figure?" I said,
So how'd you pick his
Yeah,
ear?
yeah,
I didn't say necessarily his ear. I did
Yeah.
say though that the Antichrist would suffer a head wound, or it would appear,
Ooh.
or in other translations, it seemed like a mortal wound. Again, everybody, and I even emphasized, I said, if he had didn't just turned his head, because everybody's arguing that's semantic. I said, yeah, but you're all saying it would have been a critical dead man hit if it had hit him right in that spot. Which again, I don't buy the official narrative, but I'm going by it seemed, it appeared to everybody
Right.
else who's reacting to it. Oh, look, he almost died. Right? That is
Did
what
are
I
there any
yeah,
are there
yeah.
any Alexander Hamilton connections because he was shot on 7/11 and I think that was the day Trump was shot too.
Yeah, it
You're shot in
was.
July?
July.
Yeah, July
Well,
11th.
No, I'm saying Alexander Hamilton. I did not know that.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, cuz
yes,
it's
in
our
that
son's
duel.
birthday.
It's our son's birthday, and the doctor told us when he was born
Cuz
that
see,
Alexander Hamilton was shot on that day.
me and Heidi got married on 9/11 just to
Oh,
like take the day back and be like
Yes, we
funny and
did.
stuff. And
Yeah.
then our son was born on 7/11. So
eh.
there's like some God numerology there. It's like no
Hmm.
322s or 33s like that, but
Hmm.
Well, I explained to people when I was a teenager, I was kind of big into the personalities of Zodiac, not the what am I going to do tomorrow? Look up my newspaper thing and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
horoscope ones
yeah,
are
yeah.
stupid, but the
Right.
chart, the birth chart is
And I'm
interesting. Yeah.
not I'm not telling people to subscribe. I'm just saying that gave me a really good foundation because I happen to have what four
Yeah.
friends that are all back to back to back in February with birthdays, and the other people I usually get along with really well is October. February and October tend to be the best. Now, whether that means anything, I don't know, but I just find it odd statistically that happens and
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah. Yeah.
on that front. And I'm not again. I never listens to something.
Have you heard the thing about the
I feel this is how
the
I feel about astrology really quick, Michael. I just
Yes.
want to say
really
is that
quick? It's not going to be really
this will be
quick.
quick. This will be quick. No, it's just I it says in Genesis that God created the stars for signs, for us to
Oh yeah.
interpret as signs. So like astrology's cool. Like it
To
really
an
is
extent,
to an extent.
sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree with
I
you
just
to an
wanted to
extent.
bounce off because angels were known as star walkers, and again, they said to do not worship do not be in awe and wonder of the stars as the pagans.
Right.
Back in
Mm.
Jeremiah, and it's talking about putting a star and an angel atop of a Christmas tree, and I've kind of broken that down. King of the U's, that's a good episode to watch to connect that to Corona, the Christmas tree, and the Antichrist. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So,
Wow.
So
have you heard the one about is when Isaac is about to be sacrificed, there's a ram in the bush, and this
yeah,
guy said that when Jesus came, it was like as far as the constellation goes, it's the ram is being sacrificed. So they like when the sun rises, they call that zodiac sign the sacrifice because
right.
it's in the sun. So anyway, in the age of Aquarius, when Jesus came, the ram was being sacrificed, and they were saying that it was being foreshadowed in the Isaac story, in
Hmm.
the Isaac sacrifice story.
I could totally see that, dude, and that's simple. Again, we're in another age of Aquarius. That's not a coincidence that an
Right.
Antichrist figure is coordinated on that day.
Yes.
I
I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
What
I
do you
wanted
think? I
yeah.
don't and forgive me if this is something that you've covered a lot already
No,
on your content because I'm not super I see a lot
I,
of the stuff Michael
if
sends
I
me,
may,
but
Heidi, so many
yeah.
people are commenting now, or they're just now seeing stuff that I've been talking about with Charlie, and I'm like, I've been talking about this for 3 to 4 years now.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
We're late,
now you're
dude.
noticing it because I've been
No, we are
repeating it.
late. We are admittedly late to the game. I think we've been like aware and awake for a long time, but
Yeah.
not clear on the specifics. But but anyway, yeah, what I was wondering is what do you think about the idea that they're trying to manufacture like kind of like a controlled rapture, like their
That's a
version
good one.
of Revelation that they can like manage and control? Do you
What
think they're
I
trying
what
to manufacture that?
Not necessarily where I veer, and again, I have to always take into account what I've been telling people. I work for SWID, Spiritual Warfare Intelligence Department.
Oh, is that what you work for? Yeah.
That's what I call it. It's because
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what I
I
do.
like
I
it.
run the data. I say this is
Spiritual Warfare
intelligence
Intelligence
department.
Department. Wow, I love that.
Because it's literally taking the data, seeing the probabilities, understanding the players, understanding their end game objectives, right? And then I look for the suspect, put the pieces together. I don't do the dramatia. I'll share that trivia from other pages that'll do it,
Right.
but it's not
Yeah.
my bread and
Yeah.
butter. I'll just like
Yeah.
interestingly enough, and
Yeah.
what I'm suspecting they're going to do is they do want Armageddon to occur, but then I think they don't want because Christ won't return on that aspect that they're wanting. That would leave a lot of
Oh,
Christian nationalists and a lot of people who are like in little season. They're left in the lurch. Everybody's getting slaughtered. Everybody died. Everything I've always believed in about Christ coming, he didn't show up.
yeah.
So you're kind of
Mm-hmm.
left a little bit in this fog of what am I supposed to do now? And they provide a solution. It's temporary, but it's a solution to keep going another year or two. And that is when I suspect then they would reveal a Project Bluebeam of, oh, look, now we have an ascended master race that is coming back to save all of humanity. Now, I veer as well. To say what you will, I'm a 50-50 with Tom Horn with some of his stuff. And other times I'm like, I think he might have been on the money. But he was saying that the Vatican is even saying if aliens visited us, they probably would baptize us. It would be the other way around. And the verse that they would use to help propel this is Christ saying, "I have other sheep that you may not know of."
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's a
Oh,
lot.
yeah,
wow.
and I'm like that. Yeah, that, and why I suspect. I think it's going to kick off the first 3.5 years, this September or October, whether it's Feast of Trumpets or Feast of Sukkot. I personally lean towards Feast of Sukkot. And the only reason I speculate that is because Day of Pentecost, that was the spring harvest. Feast of Sukkot is the fall harvest.
Mm,
I would speculate also being October 13th. Columbus means dove.
did not know that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
happy Dove Day. And
Yeah.
then basically from that date, whether or true not, I'm not pitching exact. I want people to know that this is not something where I'm expecting people to mark their calendar and then they all come after me because I said. I'm just saying, interestingly enough, if true, if you go from that date to of April of 2029, going to Easter weekend or Resurrection Sunday or
Okay.
Saturday, as I prefer to call it, April Fool's Day and Easter is on the same day in 2029.
Oh, wow.
Easter
Yeah.
and April Fools.
Lands on the same exact day. In their Google Images years ahead, 2027 had Armageddon, and 2027 is Year of the Goat. Elon plans to
Ooh,
release at least a 400 to 500,000 robot army that year. He was
what?
wearing for the longest time a goat head on his for his profile picture on Twitter, nicknamed the Devil's Champion.
Whoa.
So that made me go, all
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
maybe yes, maybe no, whatever. But then in 2029, they had Alien Invasion. If you're going off of what Tom Horn was saying, he had a vision of wormwood happening. It hit the west coast of America, whether it's true or northern Mexico. I almost lean toward the
Mm.
City of Angels because,
All right, yeah, as you were talking, I was thinking about I think it's Project 2027 and the Olympics are coming in 27 to Los
again,
Angeles.
what is
So
it, every
are
three? Is it every
Yes.
2 to
Yes, to
3 to
Los.
4 years?
what's that?
Is it?
It's every 4 years, but the summer one is like alternates with the winter, so it does end up being like
All
every
right,
two
yeah.
years.
Okay, so it's like
So
bi-seasonal per year. Okay,
Yes.
so
okay.
Yeah.
the whole like Maui thing and then the DEWs for LA, that Pacific all that Pacific Palisades property, they're gonna build it back as a smart city
Yes.
prototype. And I believe it's Project 2027 is what they're going by because they wanted to be ready by the Olympics to show it off.
Wow,
And
that's
like
surprised.
the subway lines and stuff,
Yeah.
it's like bloom, bloom, bloom. They're ready for subway stations as well. So it could be laying the groundwork for that.
That's what I'm suspecting. Now, whether or not that's all true, again, whether Tom Horn's vision was true or not, he saw Wormwood happening on Friday the 13th in April of 2029. Now,
Okay, gotcha.
interestingly enough, again, that's like what, 13, 14 days post. If you're going by the timeline, it says the saints or the two witnesses are laying in the streets for what, 3.5 days, and then they're resurrected, just like with Christ. This is interestingly because it would parallel with like the Last Supper that we go up for the marriage feast, sound of trumpets. I'm finding some parallels there, whether or not it
I
happens, but
I've seen a lot of chatter about like 2027 being a significant year for lots of different things. Like, I think a lot of the videos that I've seen, Michael, that remember the ones we were looking at that was showing all the real estate deals they're trying to do in the region over there. They all
Oh,
say
they're
that
doing
like
them.
construction, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. They all say that construction will start or will be done by 2027. Like 2027 seems to be their year that they're
Yeah,
guessing everything
because
will be
Gavin
safe.
Newsom was able to waive the permits. You hear everybody complaining about the LA permits, so he just waived them for
hmm,
this.
hmm,
So yeah, that and as far as construction in Los Angeles goes, you could be delayed up to a year or more just waiting for the city to come and approve the
permits and all
electrical
that.
or
Yeah,
the
Yeah, yeah.
concrete or whatever it is. So I mean, it's
You know what I like to look at? I don't know, Brandon, how much you subscribe to like synchronicities within symbolism and the like archetypes that you kind of see you recognize as like patterns that repeat through pop culture and politics and stuff like that. But
hmm,
I like to look at the at what's going to be public domain for a certain year, and I feel like that ends up being like the theme or the way that they kind of lay out their plans
hmm,
is like you kind of you get a sense of like maybe what that year is going to end up being like if that's what's public domain.
right.
And what's public domain in 2027 is Dracula and Frankenstein, like the original films.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting to think about like what are they going
Gonna
to
suck for
do? What's
transhumanism.
Hollywood going to do? Yeah, yeah. Exactly. Like, what's Hollywood gonna do with Dracula and Frankenstein? Because yeah, that's a
Didn't
big
we
one.
see on the Roku trivia that there's more Dracula movies than anything else? Like to any
Yeah,
other
Yeah.
there's
franchise?
been Dracula has been portrayed on film more than any other character ever.
There we go. That's what it was.
Bizarre. Which
The
is really
blood
bizarre
drinker.
if you think about the fact that Jesus Christ was the most recorded, written down person ever.
Hmm.
But then in Hollywood on film, Dracula's the one
Makes
most
sense.
prolific.
Yeah,
Since
I think I saw you post today that the
I think you did.
G in the Freemason logo, like
Yeah.
something to do with goat and God of all. And I had heard that it was Galadriel, which was the angel that kind of helped
Real.
Satan tempt Eve in the garden.
Yeah.
Can you expound upon that any?
So it's kind of even similar to like somebody like with my name, Brandon, Brendan, Brundon. You have several different pronunciations of
Gotcha.
the same thing. But ultimately it all does funnel to the same concept. It's just like when I've been talking about Mithras, Hermes, and Baphomet, Tammuz. They're all one and the same entity. What I'm doing is basically the anthropology of lifting up the dominoes, as I call it, DD telephone, and seeing how they compare with each other. And I'm reading some books where they're like very similar to the Masons. I'm like, no, dude, these are pre-Masons before Masons. It's like this is the exact same ritual that they do. This is the exact same terminology. And that's what I'm doing is saying, all right, I've sifted all the backroom stuff and I'm bringing it up to everybody saying, this is the case that I got. Here's a modern symbolism so
Yep.
you can compare, contrast, and you're not just going, oh, that's just your theory. No. And it's like, I had a guy, he was asking me if I thought Kirk was dead or not. And I'm like, okay, I have like 18 posts prior to this. Why don't you look at that and then come to your own conclusion? And he writes back, he says, "No, I want to know your own opinion coming from your own mouth." And so I left him a nice
That's
little.
your videos too.
Well, dude, right. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, guys, I already like they'll send me these DMs. I'm like, I already answered this. Like, anyways. So I basically told him, I said, dude, I am one of those guys you might literally say one of the last of the journalists with integrity, where I will bring to you all the facts with symbolism included, with a
Yep.
biblical outlook added to
Yep.
that. But I want you, the individual, to make your own damn conclusion. As I love hearing, actually, I don't always agree with you. Cool.
Right.
Because if you agreed with me 100%, you'd be a cultist. And I don't like that. I want
Yeah.
somebody to be their own individual and say, you know what? I did my own research off of what you pointed out, and I came to my own conclusion. What about? So again, that's basically what I told him. I said, my opinion is this. I said, but I prefer you not to be a person who subscribes to what I call political pundit soothsayers, that you just recite and you become a societal parrot. You just repeat what they said on the news last night, and then you go back in society, you repeat what they said, and you really don't know how to think of it yourself. It's like my buddy. I said, can you take a fast from the Daily Wire for 3 months? Well, no, like seriously, dude, because every time I hear you talk, did you hear what Michael so-and-so, Michael Knowles said? Do you know what Ben Shapiro said? And I'm like, what do you think? And you cannot
Exactly.
give me an answer without giving me the funnel version. And that's what I really don't like when people do that. Sorry, that was a rant, but I wanted to get it out there.
No,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
No, I
why I
totally
followed you,
agree.
is because
There's
you do all that research and it's a jumping off point for me.
Right,
I'm able to
right.
like, because sometimes your slides are up to 20 and I'll like do a
Somebody told me
rabbit
that
hole.
up to 20. I was
Yeah.
so happy. I was like, still not enough, but I'll make it work.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I was telling Michael this, and I just did a TikTok about this too. But there are layers. There are layers to the illusions. And
Mm-hmm.
there's like a base level one that like most people follow. Like, and that's the left versus right. That's the
Right,
blue. That's the MAGA stuff. But then there's another level where there is like there's still a division within the people who follow conspiracies
Oh, yeah.
and are awoken and stuff. They still, I'm noticing it on my page. If anyone tries to turn it an angle that's like more conservative or more liberal, then I
right.
know that they're not, they're being programmed, you know.
Or
Yeah.
they themselves are not out, and this is where I keep advocating for people. If you're getting mad at me, I tell you don't do nationalism, don't do this, and again,
Yeah.
when I'm saying don't do the cross, I will bring my receipts. Why am I saying this? When I say
Yeah, that's
Christ
the
is God's
truth.
word, I will give you verses. I will give you backup. I will say try to make this argument, and a lot of times they'll be like, I've never heard that before. Hey, thank you. That's all
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying is I brought you up something to for you to go. Let
Yeah.
me get back to you. That's it. That's it. I don't want to, again, it's not about, oh, you're smarter than me. No, I don't think like that. What
Yeah.
I genuinely am saying is if you're going to approach me with an accusation, you better be damn sure you got something.
Yeah.
Because I go
You
after
don't
myself before I even go after somebody
Yeah.
else.
So you say don't do the cross? That's fascinating. I like
Yeah,
that.
It's a
that's, look
tree.
it up right now. It's the cross of
No, I
Tammuz.
know I've heard of it before.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
sprawled out Kaaba cube. It equals six quadrants, 666 to be precise. And it represents the world. So literally, when
Uh-huh.
you're having Christ pick up the cross, he's dying to things of this world, and he's putting God's putting his word on the world, right? It gets crushed. That's what Gethsemane means. And what do we
Uh-huh.
get from this crushing? Into thy hands I commit my spirit. The spirit then rips the temple veil in two, so it can now indwell the saints. Hence, you now get the verses: "Greater is He that is within you than he that is of the world. Know ye not your body is a temple of the Lord." Like, guys, do you get it now? We don't need a physical building because God's word just broke that barrier for us. And I've asked people
Yes.
before. I said, "So,
Yeah.
are you telling me God's a schizophrenic? Huh? Because he's talking to himself constantly." Well, no,
Hmm.
he's talking with God. Okay, yeah, but you're saying he's God and he's incarnate, right? That doesn't
Hmm.
make any sense. Is he a ventriloquist? No, 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 no. When he's even in the Garden of Gethsemane, he's talking to his father. If you could let this cup pass from me. When Stephen the martyr dies, he says, I see God the Father and the Son standing on the right side of the throne. So there comes a certain point where it's like, okay, guys, that sounds like two distinct individuals. We got to start bringing that down because if we don't understand who Christ was, we don't understand who we are as Christians and what we're supposed to be standing and promoting. So that's what I've been trying to break down for some individuals. And when you understand the symbolism of the cross, a lot of people argue that as like the standing point. It's a symbol of Christ's strength.
So
Oh,
I'm gonna jump in there
Yeah.
because you mentioned
oh,
a
feel
question.
free.
I was wondering this.
Yeah, yeah.
So Acts chapter 6, chapter 7, it
Hmm.
mentions the freedmen. Do you think that's like Knights Templar Freemasons? Because what it says in my footnotes, I've got a King James in front of me, but I
Do
look
you
at
have an
all of
exact
them.
verse so I could look it up?
Yeah. Yeah, it's at the end of chapter 6 into 7. It's when Stephen's killed. So it's kind of 6 and 7, ironically enough, the end of 6. Oh yeah. Let me see right here. God spread the word. Blah, 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 blah. You guys could talk about something else while I'm
Yeah,
looking it up.
no, it just
Sure, sure.
Oh, here
Michael
it is. What is
Michael's been
chapter 8? So it's Acts chapter 6 verse 8, and Stephen full of faith and power did great wonders and signs among the people. Oh, and then 9. Then there arose some from what is called the synagogue of the freedmen. And then in parentheses, it has
Hmm.
Cyrenians, Alexandrians, and those from Cilicia and Asia disputing Stephen. So,
Yeah,
and this
I
is
would.
King
I
James.
dude, that's good. I would highly suspect that you are absolutely correct.
That's what
Now,
I'm thinking. I read a
That's really
Freemason.
interesting because
Yeah.
we try to find like little references within the
well,
text
like
to all that all the time.
the cornerstone, the chief's cornerstone that the builders rejected. That's a little
Yeah.
bit of a nod. Kabbalah.
Yes.
What you just cited with the rest of that verse,
Yeah.
Cyrene, Cilicia, and Asia. The throne of Satan is in Pergamum, which is roughly Turkey.
No
So
way.
yeah, so a
I've
lot
been
of
obsessed with Adana Turkey recently
yeah,
and Mount Hermon because
yeah,
that's where the Nephilim and fallen angels came down.
and its coordinates is 33.
No.
Yeah, it's on the 33rd parallel, and then
Parallel? No way.
when you lead Michael Heiser's stuff, it is likely that is actually where Christ declared upon this rock I will build my kingdom. He's
Yeah,
not saying
where?
it to Peter. He is literally going megaphones in spiritual warfare wise. Hey guys, were you hanging down and had your orgy, and you created all this Nephilim offspring that I'm now casting the demons, the spirits out of people still to this day who still want a human body? We're starting the war right here, and these are my disciples. These are my warriors. We're starting it right here. And Herman is known as forbidden or cursed. Now Hermes,
Oh, no
connected to
way.
Zeus, and then they always have to have an altar in a high place with Baal worshipped. And again, the angels gave us the elements to how to. Oh, we harness the elements. We can create alchemy, and we can find our own, regeneration, reincarnation cult.
Mm-hmm.
So again, what do
Wow.
So,
demons want? They want a body again, whereas Christ, don't worry about those who can kill the body. I'm seeking your
oh.
soul. See?
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I heard today that Hermes' dad is Nimrod, the Tower of Babel. Is that correct?
Hermes is likely Tammuz. That's supposed to be Nimrod reborn,
Oh, okay.
regenerated. And
Gotcha.
that's what actually the whole U tree represents. At the very top is the Hermetic Kabbalah tree of life, Corona. The very base, X. Now we had Corona 19.
Yeah.
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 1 equals A, I equals 9. AI equals X.
We,
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
And get
Like
this, it
Elon
also
Musk's
equals
son.
Mars, X, at the bottom of the Hermetic Kabbalah tree of life, Malkuth, or it equals 666 with the hand mudra sign.
Gotcha.
And that
Mhm.
made me immediately look at Daniel's statue with Nebuchadnezzar. The
Where
lo-
is Daniel's statue?
no, the dream that he had in
Oh, the
Nebuchadnezzar's
dream.
dream.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you looked at the very base, right, mankind will become one, basically the empire of iron and clay.
Yeah.
Mankind basically merging with machine. So basically, why do they call you a pupil in school?
I don't know.
Why do you have an all-seeing eye on top of the pyramid?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Iris, IRS,
Oh,
say Siri
Yeah, Iris.
backwards.
Siri. Yep. And Siri was
Yeah,
an
that's
invention.
new for me. The
Siri
pupil, the eye of the parrot.
and
That's new for
Siri
me.
was an invention of the Stanford Research Center.
that doesn't
And
surprise me.
yeah, yeah.
Well, and as well, pyramid, pi, Ra,
Mhm.
sun god, mid, fire the sun god in your midst.
Mhm.
Ah,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. So they're like when you and again, some of the angels when they describe them in Ezekiel, they're wheels with a whole bunch of eyeballs on them.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it is described a lot like that. So I that's what I wanted to ask you. You were talking earlier about how a lot of these figures have like multiple identities, but they're the same person. And that
yeah,
reminded me of something I'd heard recently about Enoch. I've heard that people think that Enoch is also Osiris and is also Melchizedek, like, and there's just this similar figure that has been repeated in different lore that experienced God pulling him up to show him heaven and all the heavens and all this stuff like that, and they think it's all the same person, and that he turned into a special kind of angel called like a Megatron or something. Do you know what I'm talking
That one
about?
I would veer into caution. I do believe Enoch
Yeah,
was taken up.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't believe the Osiris thing. Osiris, if
yeah.
anybody, was has to be Nimrod.
yeah.
And there
Okay.
was a bad Enoch that followed Lamech. Yeah, so that
Where's Lamech?
I was wondering
Lamech
about that
is
too because there's like three different versions of Enoch books, and I don't know which one is
the
the most
second and third.
accurate.
I would call leans into Gnosticism. The first
Yeah.
one, even if you just kind of want to base it as a potential of history, and again, I would love to make a debate with people because if they're going to say it's irrelevant, I would start arguing with Job, and then I'd go to Genesis
Yep,
6:4, and from here,
absolutely.
I've got them
Yeah.
by the collar and be like, okay. Now, on top of all of that, you think I'm stupid, but it says when the Nephilim are slain, they become daemon or demons, spirit beings, and that they're
Yeah.
going to roam the earth for 70 generations until the time of the end. And then you go cross references with Jude and First Peter, I believe it's First Peter, the sins of the angels. How did the angels get under the river Euphrates? Like, again, if I was going into a
Yeah.
full debate, it's like, you please explain this to me because it just so happens root server for all computers is known as daemon. Oh, you
Oh,
think
I
that's
didn't
a
know that.
coincidence? Who gave us the internet?
Oh,
Inter.
dude, and RAM. RAM
Yeah.
is readily accessible memory.
Mm-hmm.
That's what runs computers. That's where it's stored to
Yes.
what's running.
Oh,
Yes.
there's so many codes of like the occult that's in Silicon Valley verbiage and words.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have you ever looked on Wikipedia at like all the different code names that the Apple employees gave their like newest versions or iOS when they were still working on it in beta? They'd have to give it code names. And they have a list of their code names on there. And they're
Okay,
like
so
all symbolism.
the connection there is Steve Jobs' first daughter. I think her name might have been Lisa, but she was a writer for The Simpsons or something.
Yes, very Jesuit influence there. Yep.
And The
Hmm.
Simpsons, we know why they're able to predict everything.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Well,
but I
Nancy Cartwright is a Scientologist. Yeah, that's she's a Simpsons guy. The Bart Simpson's voice is Nancy Cartwright, and she's a Scientologist.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. But my last thing about we could keep talking about Enoch, but I wanted to jump back
Oh yeah,
to
you know,
it
I want to go back to
that
Enoch.
what was I gonna say? Oh, that one of the reasons it was removed from the canon is because he was given like that temporary angel status to tour the heavens. Like this is the bucket where the
So is
rain comes
John,
from.
and I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
True. But
yeah,
but to me it's the other stuff as above so below. The NASA stuff is why they really took it out, I think.
Well, as well, it kind of ruins the narrative because if you start actually having confirmation that there were giant races, you start losing your dispensationalist argument.
Right.
yes, yeah,
Because
What do you
again, when
think?
we're reading it, we literally hear giant tribes, but we're all like, "Oh no, they just had good food and they're about 6 foot something." That rare one with Og is like, he's
Yeah,
like 9 foot, whatever. That's just a rarity. And then we have Goliath spawn out of nowhere. Do you see, like,
dude. It
just
shows
doesn't
you
make
how evil they are too.
yes.
Of like, here's the aluminum mountain, or I think it was steel, the mountain of all the weapons, and just how like makeup, putting women in
Yes.
makeup, and
Do
like,
you
oh,
have you ever read the Book of Jubilees? Do you put much credence to that?
I'm still perusing. I picked up a Geneva that has some of the Apocrypha in it. Some of it I'm a little bit like, yeah, and then there's other parts where I'm like, there might be a little validity of consideration. And again, this is when I'm
Yeah.
teaching. I say, allegedly, this is something that's there, whether true or not.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
I'll
the
try to
reason,
find something to counterpoint with the occult to balance out if this has
yeah.
any validity, because they believe something, right? And whether we want to say yes or no, we can see in real time, like, this is what's going on right now. What do you think? If we
what
align
do
this with
they,
the Bible,
Yeah.
what do they believe in Jubilees, the occult?
Oh
Jubilee's
no.
nothing in particular, but I do know with the with the Tower of Babel that Jubilees gives a little bit more of a description how tall it was, how many bricks, like the making of the bricks and all
Dimensions.
that. Yeah,
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 that's what I was gonna say is that Jubilees doesn't really contradict any like it Jubilees says things that are similar to other texts that are
yeah.
also in the Bible. It's just that they're a little bit it's like a little bit more specific with dates and numbers in a weird it's like weirdly specific. It's like listing a lot of data and statistics.
Hmm.
And one part of it was very similar to Enoch's experience. Like it was describing the fall. It was describing the fall of the angels and the Nephilim and what they taught us and all that, very similarly to the book of Enoch. But then it said that when they were defeated, God allowed like 10% of them to remain.
Hmm.
Yeah. It said something like
I
that.
think there is some validity to that because I've even been wondering if we're going off biblical cosmology, which I do veer into, like even with the word astronaut, astro,
Yep.
star, nautical,
Yep. Nautical.
walking on water. Maybe they're giving us a little bit of a, and ice
Yep.
agents, ice wall.
Yes.
Are
Yeah.
Yes.
they
Oh,
prepping the
yeah.
way for somebody? I'm just saying. I'm seeing a little validity. I've been having a theory about the salt water. Is that possibly not natural for us to drink because that might be the shed flesh of Nephilim, the ones that were growing up to be 300
Ooh.
and 200 feet tall?
Salt water.
Now, let me continue because I know
Go
somebody's going
on.
to immediately eye roll. This is stupid as hell. Stop.
Nope.
I'm just going to
Nope.
go walk
Go
away.
on.
Let
No,
me
you're not.
Give
continue.
him a
You're
chance.
Yeah,
you're in a
because
safe place here. You're in a
as
safe space here.
I started digging a little bit further, and I said, okay, well, in a lot of the occult and or people who are trying to do exorcisms, you put a ring of what around you, and you're trying to keep a bad fairy away or whatnot.
I don't know.
Salt.
What do you
Salt.
Salt. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Whoa.
we have you are the salt of the
Of the
earth,
earth.
as
Yeah.
Christ was saying, and I'm
Oh,
making you
Whoa.
go,
there's
okay,
so
hold up,
much
and then we
even
go a little,
scientifically with salt.
yeah,
Yeah.
we go a little bit further, and we are getting some of the Romans, the legionnaires, they were paid with salt. So because they were a lot of them
Really?
were farmers, so they want to go back home and they want to
Right.
preserve their food.
Preserve the
So
meat.
therefore, right. So they were given sometimes rations of salt in order to do that. And this is where the terminology "he is worth his salts" originated from, and
Oh,
also the
yeah.
word salary.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
And then as well,
oh,
I went,
SAL. Sal.
Yeah,
yes,
Yeah.
salary.
yes.
The root. The root.
So this started making me go a little bit further and saying, okay, even with the terminology, banks of a river, currency,
Yes.
drowning in debt.
Currency. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That
it started making me go, okay, well, if Masons created the first banks, the Templars created the first banks during the Crusades,
hmm
this is now making me look into what I've been reading. I haven't gone full in, but I was hearing the guy talking. He was, what's his name? David Graeber, and he's an anarcho-anthropologist, and he has first 5,000 years of debt. And he was talking about
Is
how
that what is that? And the anthropologist.
somebody studies the practices of dead cultures and or in something in history.
Okay.
yeah.
So
You,
Gotcha.
basically, I want to find out how this tribe did
Yep.
this and how the Hittites did
yeah.
that, all that
I'm
kind of stuff.
following you. I'm
Yeah,
following you. Go
yeah.
on.
So with him, he was breaking down that there wasn't so much barter and trade and that money was kind of invented actually by the scribes who were keeping track of or writing became connected with money. And
Okay.
he somebody noted, he said shekel, like mene when we're reading in when the hand is scribing when Babylon's falling and Daniel comes in to and translate what the hand said, mene shekel, whatever.
Yeah.
All the terminology for coinage was the weight of bread or grain. And that
Okay.
made me then look at Christ going, he's known as our bread and life, and he paid the debt for us. That's actually where the terminology of coinage came from. Hermes, Nimrod's son Tammuz, allegedly was the inventor of coinage, even though everybody's arguing this, that, and the other thing. There's allegedly he might have been. And I give this some credence because the sun was supposed to be equal to Nimrod, gold, and the moon, silver, was supposed to be an equivalent of Semiramis.
Whoa.
Right? And that was making me go,
Wow.
love of money is the root of all evil. He's copying down the twin towers of the Emerald Tablets.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
known as the god of trade. We have a president now that's doing a
And
trade
and
war.
what taught us, who taught us to manipulate metals,
Right, right.
that the elements.
And
Yeah.
again, now it's becoming invisible. We're supposed to believe in the invisibility of the
Bull.
spirit, but now we're having invisible currency. That's, for digital communism is basically what they're going to usher in. So I don't know, but it was all making me think
The
if
bull.
cryptid,
The Wall Street bull. I must be
right,
Uh-huh.
slow.
right.
Crypt. Yeah.
Crypt, place for tomb, or enter, place for tomb or corpse, net, to hold or restrain something, given to us by CERN, meaning horned one, right? And the U.S.
Whoa.
military.
Yeah,
So is
CERN
it possible
and
that
the
the fallen
Hadron
angels,
Collider.
yeah, is it possible that the fallen angels, when they get let out from Euphrates after being locked in under Enoch is the only book that gives us an explanation for this.
That they're under the Euphrates?
Yeah. And they come out and they say, okay, I had to watch my kids die in the flood. I want them to have bodies back. And so you've created a pyramid scheme of an international demonic possession grid where you won't even be able to off yourself because guess what? Archons, who had the face of beast, you're now part of the beast system. You wanted to sell
Whoa.
your soul for money.
Oh.
What?
And the Archons were supposed to
So,
keep us in this material realm, as I've been doing Curse of the
yeah,
Archons.
but the archons are a
Anarchy,
Gnostic thing, right?
yes and no. Archons also can be a connection to worldly powers or governors. And as we
Oh,
get
okay.
Geneva 6:12, sorry, Ephesians from the Geneva Bible 6:12, we wrestle not against
I heard
flesh and
about
blood,
this.
but also
World
against worldly
worldly governors.
governors.
Yes.
Now, I
Yeah.
say all of that because when you break down archons and you say anarchy, it means I'm against the archons.
Ooh.
Oh.
No masters, no
Ooh.
rulers. They were known to be in charge of city states or cities, smart cities.
Yep. Yep.
Antarctica.
Or you know what else that sounds like?
Oh,
You know what else that
right.
sounds like? The person who was in charge of cities in Italy, like back in the day in the Renaissance, was a doge.
Yes, I covered that in
Doge.
Doge Rise of the
Yes.
Technocrats. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And it, again, could be wrong, but unfortunately, it makes a lot of sense because there's actually a beast data collecting center in Switzerland with 666 on the side of it.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
again,
the CERN logo is that too.
66.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
just turned. It's just the same thing.
And that is 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, 6 protons, breaking down the atom, man,
Yep.
into
Mm-hmm.
what? You're merging with the Empire of Iron and Clay. Your retina scan ends up becoming the thing that how you pay, you buy or sell, right? Because some people are saying, well, we're kind of already doing that now, right? Yeah, but what happens when you no longer need a phone, or how you get in your phone is your thumbprint? How you actually pay for a meal, let me just scan your eyeball. How do I pay
Yeah.
for your meal? Thumb. You'll recognize me because I'm part of literally digital communism. That is how I connect with the state. And if I'm disobedient, take away credits, add credits, right? CBDCs. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that makes a lot of sense spiritually speaking of, you wrestle not against flesh and blood, but as well, government means mind control. Govern to control meant mind. And
Yep.
then we get Second
Interesting.
Corinthians 4:4 that Satan has blinded the minds and hearts of men.
Yeah.
So it's like, guys, I think Antichrist system is statism. is when you keep defending this stuff and saying, I just want to go back to Eden. I acknowledge that money, because a lot of anarchists, actually, the Marxists hated them. They actually did not appreciate it. But there was a lot of anarchists that were promoting communism. And for me, I have to sit there as a centrist because I see the horrors of communism. I see the horrors of capitalism.
Yep.
Right? We're always exploiting other countries in order to get food on our shelves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, that's not right. Communism, eh. But then it made me start thinking, what exactly did Christ say? Render unto Caesar the things are Caesar's coinage, right? It's his
Yep.
face, whatever. But don't forget your spiritual priorities first and foremost to God. Render unto God the things that are God's, right?
Yeah,
So
we were just talking
basically,
about this line.
it was a commune to the extent that the funds were contributed based on the charity of the congregation and not regulated by the coercion or the constrictions of the state.
Hmm.
Basically, I'm in man's world. I understand I have to live under his edicts of currency, right? If I want to survive in it. But this
Hmm.
is not what I place my treasure in, right? I set my treasures on things above. This is temporary, but I want to keep the ecclesia going. If somebody has a need, we are the people that give it, not out of state regulative. It's just no. You have a need. We have funds. Let's help you. Paul needs money for this journey. Let's give you the funds to do that. Why? Because the money is supposed to be liquidated to be helping
Yeah.
the ministry because you're in Caesar's world. And don't you think Caesar would hate that? I want them relying on my programs.
Exactly.
We're like, no,
Yeah, yeah.
we got our own. Thank you. This is what you deal with. Here, take your stupid money. And again, I look at Judas. What did he do? He gave back the money. He's doing better than a lot of
Yeah.
Christians today. He's like, I want Christ again. I don't know how to go over and talk to him. I can't get past the guards. I can't talk to any of the other 11 disciples because they're probably really pissed right now.
I think he had a true
Yeah.
change of heart in that moment. I think when he
Again, I know what Paul
yeah.
wrote saying like he was probably damned or whatever. I think it was Corinthians or whatever. But it does make me scratch my head because he showed a lot more repentance, not knowing what Christ was about to do, and he was supposed to
Yeah.
technically be put to death or punished by the people he betrayed Christ with. So he's literally in that one point in history in his culture where he's like, "What am I supposed to freaking do?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about Paul? Like how or what are your feelings on that dude? I don't know sometimes.
I know people say that. However, he's the one individual that gives us context and clarity of Old Testament making sense into the New Testament, of still making things applicational without
Hmm.
throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I would recommend following the rest with the second, first to second, and a little bit into the third centuries with like Tertullian, Irenaeus, and Polycarp, a couple of the other ones because they give a little bit of further credence of continuing on what Paul started, and they will cite him and or Old Testament. So it starts becoming a little bit more fluid. If anything, if we actually were starting to teach what those guys were teaching before we got to Luther, we would not be doing Christian nationalism right now.
So what did they
Yeah. Well,
teach? What
that's
did those
that's what
people teach?
Again, a lot of it. I have one book, Caesar in the Lamb, and that was talking about how a lot of military martyrs, like they were put to death because they were like there was one guy I think it was Julius. He basically was like a 27-year veteran and he finally came to the conclusion one day, I can't continue serving Caesar and Christ. I've been doing this wrong because I'm still doing sacrifices annually towards the emperor and one god when I follow Christ. And so basically he comes to some majestic guy and he's over here like, listen, one more time, you can collect your pension. I'm using modern terminology. You'll collect your pension. I'll tell them I forced you to do it, but this is kind of no, I can't do that. In clear conscience, I cannot serve Christ. And like I've been doing it wrong for 27 years. Like I accepted Christ, but I've been doing this wrong. And he's like, yeah, okay, well, I'm gonna have to put you to death. Well, please make haste because that's what I deserve, and I can't continue to do sin with this on my conscience.
yeah.
There's another one saying I cannot sin because if I join Caesar's ranks, like I'm violating everything. He's like a 21, 22-year-old guy. I think it was Marinus or something. And when you start breaking that down and how they're against like state executions, it really just starts convicting you, going like, this is radical. Why would anybody support this? But you start getting to the crux of it. A lot of times they were citing, was it Isaiah 2:4 and Micah 4:3, I think, where they're saying Christ turned our weapons into plowshares. But
Mm.
not necessarily Christ, but the Savior would basically be doing that. And we now fight with the sword of the Spirit. right?
Yeah.
Because in the
Yeah.
Old Testament, we were doing physical combat with David and Joshua and all this stuff. New Testament, spiritual. It's been updated. Why? Because the demons and most, again, as we said, the 10%, they've been
Yeah.
pretty much all slain, except for exceptions for like the giant of Kandahar and all this. I suspect like Bigfoot and stuff like that might be variation of Nephilim and or influence
Oh.
thereof.
Yeah,
That's
for
my hunch.
sure.
A lot of people don't, you know. But yeah, I think that's what
What do you
my
think about like hybrid DNA stuff? I know there's a lot of people that believe
Yeah,
that.
like Ozzy Osbourne and Youngblood.
hey, yeah, he's a special guy. I was really surprised he got so much attention from Christians.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
They love you, I bet.
I
The
piss off
truth
everybody,
teller.
dude. I feel like the Punisher sometimes. It's like I'm going up against all the gangs, the police, this guy, like nobody likes what I do, and I'm like, I really
No,
don't care.
Well, what is
Michael,
the
I tell
verse?
Michael all the time
Consider
we have no
yourself
friends
blessed,
because
brother.
we offend everybody. We offend
Good.
everyone.
That is the
Yeah.
best kind of Christian. Is like, you know what? I'm okay with being an offensive to the state because that's not what I do. I'm a saint. Saints mean set apart. So
Yep.
you're obliged to hate me. I do not
Yeah.
fall
Yeah, I
falsely
like
of
that.
that.
Yeah.
But
And I appreciate what you were saying on Paul because I think that Paul like just gets taken out of context and misunderstood a lot and
we do
really
that. That's
yeah,
Yeah.
Kabbalah, where you
exactly.
take God's word and then you put your own twist to justify what you're doing. And then I'll come back with you going, yeah,
Mhm.
what about this story? And what about this verse? Well, yeah, you're arguing
Yeah.
with God. I'm just pointing this
Right.
out to you because this is something that we really should be examining. And then, what did Christ say? What did an old prophet say? And then we come to the conclusion, and you're over here still making exceptions and excuses. And a good way to determine if someone still enjoys their sin is they'll say, well, I don't do it for those reasons. God knows my heart. Are you kidding me
That's a
right now?
fun
So you've
one.
now been confronted with the truth, and you
Yep.
give me another deflection of saying it's not. No, no, it's not me. It's not me. Another common thing is projection. It's what I call the Adamic excuse. It's Adam. It's Eve. It's the serpent. Who's
Oh,
going to fess
yeah,
up
yeah.
today? I don't really
Hmm.
care about what their part was. I'm talking about you specifically. What was your part in all of this? And do you feel sorry for what you did? Are you going to change and go forth and sin no more?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what it should be. But constantly, I'm seeing with modern Christianity is people, projecting. They're more morally depraved and degenerate than I am. Right? They're the ones to blame. I'm absolved of all of that, and this is why the left-right paradigm is so appealing. I'm still a good Christian because I'm in the right. And what do we get in Proverbs? Was it 4:27? Don't lean to the left or to the right unless you triple into evil.
That's right.
Again, not me. Again, I could bring up more and more stuff. Where I think there's a beginning in Romans where it's talking about how these groups they base a lot of their ideologies on animal symbolism. We have an elephant for this party, a donkey for this. I was like, even the freaking snake. Don't tread on me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Like
Well, it's in everything and then it just goes back to like ancient Egypt and the
well,
Anunnaki.
I brought that one up, in King of the Ewes episode. So when Moses is throwing down the staff to become a snake,
Hmm.
it's very eerily similar to the Caduceus staff. And as a prince of Egypt, he would know about Thoth, aka equivalent of Hermes. He would know about
Hmm.
this magic tricks, and again, this is why the alchemists were able to do that. The magicians in the court of
Yeah.
Egypt, and then basically what happened with them is that they started migrating further and further north, and they became druids. No, they didn't. Well, when you get to freaking St. Patrick, what is he known for? Driving the snakes out of Ireland. And Hollywood is named after the Druids. A lot of the stuff that they practice, visuals and all the sensational stuff that we
Oh,
still fall for. And then they have stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, all
yeah.
of them being pentagrams, the sigil of Ashtaroth. You can Google that for somebody who did
Well,
not know.
I got another one. This was a new discovery, but Horus and is it the SET Sate? They
Set. Yeah.
pronounce it Set. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Horus's son or
Horus is one of those interesting ones because there's Hathor, Hothar, which is supposed to be like the mother of Horus or the some yeah, it's supposed to be some
okay?
name like that. and
Hmm.
she is very similar to Isis and who's the other one? I'm trying to blank. Ishtar, is it Ishtar? And
Asherah?
yeah, Ashtaroth is another one. Astrote is the like Easter Bunny. Eventually, where we start very into
Oh.
that.
So
Oh,
Um,
I
I
have
thought
this whole
Isis was
side
the
note.
mother of Horus. I
a
thought
What's
lot
that?
Isis
of
was the
this,
mother of Horus.
a lot of this, I find interesting because it seems like the mythos has kind of duplicated, and it makes me almost
Yeah,
wonder if there was an aunt somewhere
yeah.
down the line because there's some instances where I'm looking at this going, all right, did he make out with a sister or is this an aunt? Is this some kind of like a
No,
different
I think
district of Egypt?
mythology, I think the mythology evolved and took on two different
That
storylines
yeah, yeah.
depending on the dynasty or whatever that you're
Well, you
looking
mentioned
at.
the Anunnaki. That's just the I believe it was the Hopis are seeing the fallen angels or the Nephilim. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is Anunnaki. And then over here, no, this is Nephilim. Well, it's the same
Mhm.
entities, but we're just giving them different names.
Entities are into or their children and so on and so forth. So
True.
like
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
asking me about with the gene editing, I don't
Yeah.
know whether or not this is true, and I don't subscribe to making your whole personality um, based on cryptids or whatever. Because there's a lot of people that, as we kind of inferred before, they're making their whole career on sensationalism, and I'm trying to base what I do. Yes, it's fun, sensational, whatever, fun to speculate. But what are we grounded on at the end of the day? What's our takeaway? Is the Bible true? Does it have something like again? These other guys, I'm like, you're not really giving us edifying food. But that being said, I do enjoy listening to a lot of cryptid things, and there was this one particular guy that sent into a cryptid show. I can't remember which one it is, but he almost sent like it had to have been about 5 to 8 pages, dude, talking about his dad in the '80s being part of a alleged project known as Project Feather, based out of Texas, and they were working on gene editing. So basically, they'd take some DNA from a moth, some DNA from like a bat, and then it'd be able to do this, and then like it would have sonar ability to hear, and allegedly they were starting to create dogmen and they were using them in like a Guantanamo Bay thing, like in Cuba. Allegedly.
Wow.
Whoa.
Allegedly.
Wow.
And allegedly.
There's a lot of symbolism with that going on right now.
Yeah, well,
Have
yeah. And
you?
then allegedly they got rid of these things over in the Louisiana bayous. And I've listened to other things talking
Whoa,
about
that's where they disposed them?
allegedly. And
Allegedly.
I've heard other stories where people are talking running into werewolf and whatever. And I'm going, I don't want to say that this is like, but there's some stories I'm listening to going, this person could sound crazy, but there's always another story that seems to verify that this story might have validity. And when I'm hearing these other people saying I was a skeptic, but then they start describing it, and it's like, you know what? Your details, they're too concise. The way you're telling the story, it
Yes.
makes a lot of sense. And for us to say it's just not out there, it doesn't exist, I would genuinely ask you to look underneath the Vatican and look up the Smithsonian with the Jesuit
Oh,
logo,
yeah.
sun. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I don't buy anything that they tell me. If
So
something,
on
but
that note, I
Yeah.
did a deep dive on Clonade. This company is called Clonade and they're in Montreal, Canada, and they did the first clone in like 2001. I haven't quite been able to make connections there. 2001 is the first clone they did. A race car driver, from what I'm recalling, is a race car driver, wealthy couple. They lost their child, so they recreated their child, and that kind of thing. So that's all the information I
I think
have
I heard
with that.
something similar to that. And
It's
I
but
find it
it's
interesting that
yeah,
you say 2001.
yes,
Allegedly, that's when we went 2000 what 2003 2006 when we went over to Iraq. We allegedly
that neighborhood.
extracted the body of Nimrod.
No way. Whoa.
Allegedly, allegedly, again that
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. True.
I think that might have been in Doge, the Rise of Technocrats, where I showed the visuals of who we brought
I'm
out,
gonna look into that.
and
Holy
I
smokes.
compared it with the mythos because allegedly around his apron, whether it was made of stone or wood or whatever, it had a fish on it. And again, I was reading the mythos of Osiris, his dick getting cut off, and the fish
I didn't
being.
know that.
Yeah, he was cut up allegedly into 13 pieces by Set, and I allege that that might be Shem, Noah's
Yeah.
son, because I think post the Tower of Babel,
Yeah,
he was
Shem,
like, you
Ham.
know what, I got to go take
It's
you out.
very similar. It's very
Ham's the
similar to
Babylon
what
child.
happens with. It's very similar to what happens with Voldemort in the Harry Potter series with the Horcrux.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, he
Yes.
splits his soul up into
Yes.
all these different, and that's how he's able to reincarnate over and over again after, like
Well,
why he can't
And do
die.
you guys realize that's the sports teams too? The Philadelphia 76ers, 7-6 is 13. The San Francisco 49ers, 4-9 is 13.
huh.
So
Oh
all the
wow,
13
I didn't
yeah,
know
original
that.
colonies. Yeah.
I do deep dives into like sports stuff. Like the last World Series was Texas Rangers, which is Dallas, and then the Diamondbacks, which is Phoenix. That's 33rd parallel. And it
Wow.
was, yeah. Yeah, so the sports stuff runs pretty deep. And the logos that they use for the Super Bowl, it's always the colors of the two teams that are gonna be in the Super Bowl. So last year they did that pattern, and they had the pattern for Kansas City. So of course everybody puts their money on Kansas City, and Kansas City loses.
Yeah,
So they did the
and I
whole
think
like
there's going to be
switcheroo
codes.
thing
I think there's going to be codes
to win money.
about genes and DNA and stuff
But
in the Super Bowl, in the football Super Bowl stuff, because the next Super Bowl is going to be at Levi's Stadium, and they
the
just came out with
genes,
that
Sydney Sweeney, the
Sydney
genes. Yeah.
Sweeney and American Eagle and the genes having
Yeah.
good genes and all the eugenics stuff. So watch, it's going to be a part of like how they advertise
But
for
yeah, there
this.
was some planes that went down. Like that plane went down going to Philadelphia, and then they made the Eagles win.
Yeah.
Eagle, that's the president, and the that whole thing. But the Hitalick Sports, he explains a lot of it. And it's crazy because I don't gamble anymore. I never
Yeah.
did, but I think
The
it's
lottery's run by
interesting.
the CIA.
Yeah, exactly.
Every
But the
time I
symbol
have done
he's
it, I've been good at it. Every time I've gambled, I've been good at it, which is
but
why I make a conscious effort not to, because that's like just too tempting.
but what I love about this guy is he does the codes and then he runs the numbers. He's like 70% and he's adamant. He's like, I'm 70%. And then he'll do the breakdown of it. And it's like Kobe Bryant's birthday, this and that. He does the he knows his numerology.
Right.
I
Right.
mean,
Wow.
it's like the Charlie Kirk stuff. His birthday was in 33 days. It's like you can't. And to me, the one that I do for people that are skeptical of numerology is P. Diddy. P. Diddy was 666 months old during his trial, in May. So that's how
With
deep
Charlie
it
Kirk,
goes.
with Charlie Kirk, they also said that his manhunt was 33 hours long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
they
put
said
that in
that.
the news all the time. The 33s, the 36s, because that's the
Um,
three sixes.
Going back to technocrats,
But
Brandon, you
how
were
did we spin off there? It was
But she was
13.
talking about Voldemort, and I always wanted to throw in
Yes.
yeah,
RK Rowling, the author.
J.K. Rowling, yeah, yeah.
Okay, sorry, whatever. She has
It's
the
okay.
Baphomet arm tattoos on her wrist.
No.
Solve Coagula. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't
That
surprise me
that would
one
explain
bit.
a lot.
Oh yeah,
Have
I was
you
like, the minute I saw that, I was like, I don't take anything she says. And you're against transgenderism, which allegedly Baphomet is supposed to be trans.
right?
So I was like, yeah, this is. I'm sorry. I just laugh when everybody
What?
says these two are
Oh,
against each other. I'm like, no, they're not.
no, every like famous major figure that they have claim that they claim is a turf or like or anti trans.
No.
I swear they're like plants because they do it in the most banal, like they use the stupidest reasons to argue against transgender, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Instead of like talking about the actual like true
Well,
um
Pride Month, it has
issues.
demon in it. Pride,
Yeah.
month, MO. Yeah, it has
Yeah,
it in it.
it's identity politics. Yeah.
So, have you heard
Well,
of
even
Richie?
Prith. We did a clip of this with what's his name, Cody Seven Club, and Prith is the letters left over after you do the Pride Month thing, and that means to summon or to whatever. It comes from Priffy.
No.
So
What is
Oh
basically,
that?
wow.
summon demon. And I was like, whoa!
What Prithy?
Privy or Prith.
Privy.
Prith is the
Gotcha.
letters that are left over, but it stems basically etymology
From
with
summoning.
Privy. Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
And they're
So
going into some of the stuff where like parasites and why people like doing butt stuff, and that connects to a demon. Yeah, there's the whole thing.
yeah,
Like, we were breaking this down, and I was over here going, I don't like. Whoa,
Yeah.
paranormal is a whole new thing.
Parasites, that's a new one I haven't heard of because I have been
we've done
I've
some
heard
deep
of this
dives
weird I've heard of
on
this weird
parasites.
stuff where like there's a spiritual war, like the spiritual war is come like it dates back to kind of the beginning of imperialism and colonialism where we we created sickness and disease and germs and that
Oh yeah,
actually like it like personified in like evil spirits basically. I've heard stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that.
can highly suspect a lot of that. I think what a lot of people don't seem to understand is that a lot of times throughout history, these guys like what's his name, Isaac Newton.
Hmm.
When I think, if I'm not mistaken, when they dug up his body, he had a whole bunch of mercury found in his DNA, especially in his hair particles, because he was trying to ingest mercury because he thought he could solve the idea of getting
Yeah, he
eternal.
was an alchemist.
Yes, I'm like,
Yeah.
guys, he
no
was
way.
ingesting mercury because he thought, again, mercury is connecting with Tammuz, and
That's
again,
right.
Every one of our major like
Yeah.
scientific foundational
the guys they
like
tell us about, yeah.
truths, yeah, are all they all had to do with the occult. They all had something to do with it. They were like chummy with Crowley. They were
Yep.
into Thelema and stuff like that. Sir Isaac Newton totally was.
So
Yeah.
a while back, I wanted to jump into water spirits because I saw a clip of Ari Shafir talking about smoking DMT.
Uh,
And his experience was having this entire, you guys remember the Star Trek Next Generation? Captain Picard had this entire life where he raised a family and watched his child grow up, and then he saw his grandchildren, and then he like got old and grew old. He had this entire life with this woman, and it was basically like a siren, like summoning them into the thing. Well, that's what his DMT trip was like.
uh,
So I think anybody pushing DMT now, it's like total Nephilim, total water spirit stuff, and it's like
But don't we have DMT naturally in our bodies?
it does produce that. Yeah, we produce
that's
amounts of it, but the amount that people are smoking or ingesting is
Yeah.
not.
that's kind of the whole thing about alchemy is saying, well, we already have that within us. Like when you look up the symbol of the Ouroboros, which is the infinity logo, or
Yes.
on the top of the tarot card, that is a mirrored 33. It is three of the genomes, whatever, from man and three genomes from the woman. Yeah. So
Whoa.
when you're looking at that, basically what that all is dipping into is I can prolong my own life via the elements. And I had a guy I was doing shows with, and he kept telling me about DMT. And then when we actually went in for the show, with the background, it was all this Masonic stuff, and I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this is what I saw on the other side. I'm like, no, I was like, I can't even in good conscience do that because my whole audience is gonna be like, oh, look, you just, I'm like, just change your background. And I had to eventually block him because I'm like, I can't do this in good conscience, dude, because you don't seem to get it. I am not promoting or endorsing any of that. I admit that stuff exists, but as a
Yes.
Christian, there are certain realms and jurisdictions that we are allowed to at this time, and maybe on the other side will be allotted to. But at this point in time, no, we can speculate, right? And like you just said,
Well, you
like
said it earlier. You said our battle is against spirits and principalities, not flesh. So what are
right.
you doing when you ingest that DMT? You're going into the lion's den.
Well,
You're in
not
the
even
belly of
gonna.
the
Yeah, that
beast.
makes it sound better, but yes.
No, I'm making it
I'm
sound
Yeah.
saying
like
for somebody that's like,
scary.
oh yeah, I want to confront the lions, like Daniel. Like,
No,
oh, no,
no, not
no.
me. No, those are they tear people
Well,
up. Not
you're
me.
allowing it is sort of like consenting to allow that portal kind of open to you.
Right,
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
right.
I think that um there are certain natural medicines that are great to utilize when you have the intention, like when you have a good
Well, natural herbs, right.
intention. Yes.
Right, and again, you have to be careful with the terminology intention because this is
Yes.
what sensitive. But I do understand what you're saying. Is like I'm doing it
Yeah.
for the reason because this is natural herbs. Like we're supposed to know how to do this stuff, natural remedies, as opposed to I got to go buy Nyquil.
Yes.
There's
Yeah,
the like I'm
exactly.
doing it with the intent of using it as it was supposed to. And then there's the other thing of intent that leans very close to the diameter of intent as in manifest. Ugh!
Oh, yeah. No, I
Right.
don't mean like
I'm
that.
just
I
saying
mean
because
having,
buzzwords.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
having using you could there's stuff that God has provided that he has created and you
Dandelions.
use it for good,
Right.
but it also can be used and manipulated for bad and we don't, and you just don't do it that way.
Well, again, and we have like no knowledge of like basic etymology or basic things. Like I posted
Hmm.
that today in my stories. Calling me an idiot is actually justified because it basically means somebody who does not participate in the politics of the city state.
Yeah.
I was like,
Of
okay,
course,
yes, I
of
do
course they would
identify
make
with
that.
that.
Wait, what is that?
Of course
Where's
they'd make
idiots
that a
root?
bad name, a bad name.
It's
Yeah.
Itiotes or Itiotes, whatever it is. And I actually learned that from young Indiana Jones. His dad was telling Indy about, you know where the word idiot comes from. I was like,
Oh,
so it's letting me look
Yeah.
into like idiots, morons, and whatever. And I was like, this is
yeah.
interesting because even insulting somebody, we don't know much about this. And this is why I always encourage in my anarcho libertarian, not as in party. I do not condone parties.
Mhm.
It's libertarianism, which Klaus Schwab does not like, as in I promote individual, like or Tolstoy. I cannot promote education enough. It's not you follow me and I know what it is. It's I cannot promote enough that you have to pick up the book. You come to your own conclusions. You look into this stuff. Because like at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we're kind of almost, what do you call it, diluting our potential as Christians because we don't understand the other side. And as we get in like what Hosea, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. We
Yeah.
just run the rat race and we're reliant on the system, but we really don't know how to think for ourselves. We don't even bother to speculate, right? Like a lot of people, they hate Muslims. I'm like, well, have you ever even talked to one? No, but I see what they do on the news and they're radical. Have you seen yourself, like with Christian nationalism? It's just
Yeah.
destroying a law with the Bible and bacon grease. I mean, for crying out loud, people.
The
Yeah.
Bible and bacon
Yeah.
grease.
I
It's
remember what
sad.
I wanted to ask you. We were talking about technocrats
Yeah.
and what are your thoughts about Peter Thiel giving these antichrist speeches during the Feast of Trumpets?
I'm laughing my butt off that people are even subscribing to him, and I'm like, I don't. Either these people really do know the agenda, or they literally are the dumbest people in the world, right? Like you're giving me a lecture, and you're actually like, I would speculate that Trump's the AC and that Elon Musk would be the false prophet with Neuralink X. Again, naming everything X AI.
Yeah.
But that's just my hunch. But I think in a way it's almost semi taunting because when you now have a technocrat that's interested in this stuff, it still dilutes it. It makes you think, oh, we still got 100, 200 years in the future. And this guy's got to be good because if he's condemning Antichrist or talking about this topic, he obviously has to be one of ours, right? It's a very common Jesuit theme. Like they found out that you can't necessarily reach every single crowd via the pulpit, so they were trying to push the idea of entertainment, right? Because you could reach them with humor and this and that. And so they would
Yeah.
even mock the idea of Jesuits in plays, and so it became almost like pop culture that it would delude the idea that we need to be wary of these individuals. Very similar to the special people that got kicked out of a certain number of countries. Jesuits were also kicked out of a lot of freaking countries, and a lot of people do not know this. But if you
Yeah,
download
yeah, I've heard
it,
that.
it's subversive. It's cultural subversion where you just don't even worry about it anymore. So they do that today in our movies by literally telling us what they're going to do,
Yeah,
and we're
yeah. The
just like, yeah,
revelation
that
of
was
the
a really
method.
good movie.
The revelation of the method. Yep.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So on
So
that note, have you read the Trump time traveler book, like Barron's time traveling adventure, The Last President? Have you actually got to read
I
it?
wonder if that's like another little just Easter egg, some kind of weird
I do
thing
think
that
there's
they
Interesting.
something
fed
to
us.
it. I have
Yeah.
covered it a little bit in shows. Um, I do find it interesting. I'm not sure what cover of magazine it was, but there was a was it 90s, I like to say. Trump says, "Why are all these time travelers trying to kill me? I'm just some business builder guy,
Yes.
whatever." And I was like, guys, this is like a legit cover. You can look it up." And I'm like, even if these people are or
I
aren't,
know what
they're,
you're talking about. Hmm.
it makes you wonder going, but the biggest one, I brought this up in an episode in relation to what you're talking about. I think it was Q's Little Season. I was connecting how the Little Season people, they connect right to QAnon.
Mm.
And I brought up the website. I think this was 2 to 3 days before Trump's birthday this year. And it was the Ingersoll Lockwood, the author, his website. And when you look at it, it looks like basically a Space Force recruiting thing. But then when you go to the very bottom of the page, you click on a little white rabbit, and the white rabbit will take you to the link of the day. And this particular link, I clicked on it. It says, I am Ingersoll Lockwood, and today is June 14th, 1946, where the special seed of mankind has been born to redeem all of man, or whatever. And I was like, and then it fast forwards to Elon Musk going, happy birthday, DJ, DJT. You taught me everything I needed to know about playing the game of 5D chess. Happy birthday, blah, blah, blah. You totally rock. And then it goes into some little like 1930s. I was like,
Whoa.
Weird. I know what site you're talking about.
Yeah, I was like, guys, I had to record it because it changes every single day. I was like, guys, do you I'm crazy. I'm crazy. Like that was for me. That was like a home run of like, okay, all the stuff I've been speculating that really sent it home, that the Ingersoll thing is not something to just toss out. That is some predictive programming.
Yeah.
So
Michael, remember what I told you about what happened on June 14th, where Crowley's the people who follow Thelema created a moon child on June 14th,
Yeah, I've covered that.
1946. You've covered that? Yeah.
I've again, I pull from all these resources just going, could be wrong, but allegedly, and I'll pop this up.
Well, the dates line up.
Yeah.
The woman they used went to New York at that time and she said she had an abortion.
Oh.
Yeah. The woman that they used. Yes. Her name is Marjorie
Taylor Green? Okay.
No, it's Marjorie Crawford or something like that. And she was Robert what's that guy's name? The jet fuel rocket NASA guy that followed Crowley.
Jack Parsons?
Jack Parsons, yeah. So she was Jack Parsons, like he was infatuated with her, yeah. And him and L. Ron Hubbard did those occult rituals with her to try and bring about the moon child, the Whore of Babylon. And then she goes to New York to have the abortion, and that's around the time the baby that Trump was born. So that's weird.
It's super sus to say the least.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I think I got a new one for you that you might not have covered because this comes from one of my favorite childhood movies, The Little Rascals. So I made Heidi and my son, my 7-year-old, rewatch it. We're watching The Little Rascals with Bug Hall, who plays Alfalfa, and is very sad because he was abused. Very sad stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're watching, and we're like, it's a He-Man Woman Haters Club, blah, blah. We're working our way through the movie, and Heidi's like, this seems kind of Masonic. So we look it up, all the original Little Rascals, Freemasons. So move along. All right, so there's a part where Bug Hall is in his underwear. And he does the talent show in his underwear. And then I'm rewatching, like, I thought this was okay as a kid. We were all watching. So anyway, he's running down the street. And
he's being chased. He's being
chased by adults down the street.
And he's right by a Masonic temple.
The logo is in the frame. The frame.
And I had already said in the first 5 minutes.
She goes, did you see that?
Yeah.
And it's like, I think they filmed that in Burbank or wherever, but boom, right there, the logo, the G. Yeah. You see it plain as day.
Little Rascals is super Masonic.
And then at the end, how does the movie end? It ends by building a craft, like a race car, 2 race cars, right? Mm-hmm. And Donald Trump is in it at the end. Mm-hmm. And he's like...
Oh, the movie, the Red Little Rascal movie?
Yes.
Donald Trump.
Okay.
Yeah, Trump. Reba's in it. Like, all these cameos are in it.
It's crazy cameos.
And
Yeah.
it's like, and then Heidi's like, oh, Alfalfa's like Elon Musk, and Donald Trump is like, yeah. So it's pretty deep.
Dude, I've been watching like American Horror Show, or horror movie, whatever it is, the American
Mm.
Psycho. Sorry, American Psycho. I was watching
The Ryan Murphy shows.
the Devil's Advocate. I was watching The Sopranos,
Yeah.
and time again, they're always mentioning Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I cannot get away from not watching something where they're
Yeah.
not mentioning the guy or he's not
Yeah.
doing a cameo in the show. And I'm like, this is really prevalent as opposed to it was something, it's just like
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
Before he was ever in politics, too. This
yeah,
is like way before.
even the show Chuck.
Yeah.
Remember
Because
Chuck with the spy?
Yeah, I remember Chuck. Yeah.
Yeah, they had the what's her face's dad was saying like even if it's Donald Trump, I was like, dude, every freaking time I turn
did
around, they freaking mention him in a show.
did you see
Yeah.
the video recently of Nelly where he's like, it looks like he's demonically possessed at a show? That's
Mhm.
one to look up. So he's demonically possessed. And because I know his music, he's like, let me in now. Let me in now. Bill Gates, Donald Trump, let me in now.
Yeah.
What are
I'm
the
telling
I
chances of him
I'm
being
telling
possessed
you,
on stage and then mentioning
they
those two
primed
together?
they primed Donald Trump for us, and like his family background is so insane. The first the first the first of his generation to come to America, they ran brothels for the
yeah.
gold rush. They ran brothels for the gold rush, and then on his mom's side, there's like ancient royal Scottish bloodline.
Did you
So
Yeah,
guys
which
ever hear the song New World by Prince back in 1996?
um
I
no.
Because YouTube took it down shortly after I was looking into it, and it really made me start.
So what, yeah, what, because I have my own Prince codes that I want to jump
It's
into after
basically
yours.
it's going New World for the intro, but then it goes a couple of. I'm just going to read the stanzas. When the sharpest vibration saves you from obliteration, the intelligence of your bed reacts, covering your head to toe with an air-filled sack. Then it goes into the chorus. When the lines blur, every boy and girl sounds like a little certain something. How you gonna make it in this brave new world? Love one
Oh,
another, New World Order, blah blah blah. When you want to find some isolation, but the tracker you got from special word from 2020 keeps playing, you'll never walk alone over and over. They're always listening, especially on the phone.
oh
Wait a
yeah.
minute, New World. Did you hear about the new pill? It feels like sex, guaranteed to thrill with no ill side effects. A pill that will stop the wrinkles, a pill that will stop the pain, a pill that will
Uh,
make a baby. Never seek political gain. What's it all when you can
hmm.
alter your biology? Who or what then, my friend, will you and I be? And then it goes back basically to all the stuff I was saying before. But I was going, uh, guys, I think they just told us what's coming. And allegedly, his last tweet before he died, and I think somebody deleted it or whoever, it says, if they can get after me, they can come after anybody.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then he disappeared. And allegedly, some of the photos that were taken, one of the books that he had was I can't remember the guy's first name. I think it was Stephen Quaid or Quayle talking about Nephilim stuff.
Yeah.
He had
Now,
money.
do you
Yeah,
think that that was something he did as part of the programming and like he was or was he trying to reveal something to us and then got in trouble for it?
I think a lot of times they do try to tell us via their music. Bob Marley talking about saving the children a lot. When you start slowing it down, you're like, wait a minute. And then there's a lot of Michael Jackson's lyrics. When you
Yeah.
actually start slowing it down, and like even the what is it? Break me, hate me, blah, blah, they don't really care about us. That's actually calling out the special people. The original word was kikes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Michael Jackson?
I've
yeah.
been seeing clips of that
Wow.
video and people say like, "Oh, this is why his career was ruined."
And it makes me
Was
go, guys, I do think sometimes when you start listening to the lyrics, and as somebody who's like, I do poetry and I like acting and stuff like I actually start listening once in a while and start going, whoa, I think you were genuinely, they understand the art of subliminal messaging. And
Yeah.
some of them are trying to tell the audience, like, hey, I'm trying to put this to poetry, but this is a serious thing you guys got to start looking into, right? And most
Well,
of us, we don't get it because we're so dumb and programmed. But
well,
some of us who are listening,
Mhm.
Those Prince clips where he mentions about him owning his masters, like the master tapes. Have you seen that one?
no.
Oh, it's kind of interesting because he's doing an interview with somebody and he's like, "Do you own your masters?" Because he got into that. So Michael Jackson toward the end, he had like 70% of Sony's publishing. The narrative that they push is, "Oh, he bought the Beatles rights from Paul McCartney." No, it was bigger than that. And then Prince was breaking away too. So, I
I'm
don't
just
know.
saying, I wouldn't
And
be
do you know
surprised if
where they
some.
store? Do you know where they store all those masters? All those old, like all the original song artwork and not just that, but like the contracts to likeness rights and usage rights and all that. They store all that in limestone caves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's where they do the
because it's got to
ceremonies.
stay
They do the
temperature controlled.
ceremonies to the demons. And that's why they call them master tapes because those are their masters. And
Yeah,
that's how
You
they
know
get
who
it.
owns a lot of them now is Bill Gates, a company that Bill Gates owns.
So I
Yeah.
did a deep dive on
Gates of
this one,
Hell is what I nickname him.
Yeah.
but this long story short was like when you sign a recording contract, you do these demonic rituals where a demon actually comes in and gives you the song, and then you record the song, and then that manipulates people
Hmm.
that way.
So
Yeah, it's
Brandon,
pretty wild.
I want to be conscious of your time. It's been I
It can
don't
go for 4 to 5 hours. Seriously, I don't
we
mind.
we got a son waiting for us, but I do want to know. I like to leave things. I think a lot of this work that you do that we kind of have a special interest in, um, it can
No, kind
it can
of.
tend
We do.
no, I feel like a lot of I'm sure you deal with this a lot with your listeners. Like a lot of people, it can make people feel a little like desperate, like or hopeless, or feel like we have no control over any of this. It's like, oh, everything's a psyop now. We can't trust anyone, blah blah blah. So like how can we walk away with something more constructive here? What do you tell people to do? You know what I mean?
I don't tell
Like
anybody to do.
going
No.
forward.
And no, in a sense, yes, I do. I don't believe in telling anybody what to do because I really do not
Right.
like the idea when people like I said before. I am not here to tell you what to do. What I would again be not afraid. That's in the Bible 365 times in there. Even though the calendar is not exactly 100% correct, we it's kind of coincidental that we have one verse every day of the year to remind us that we don't have to be afraid of these things. However, the caveat to that is I'm really tired of people thinking like, "Oh, I'm unfollowing," as if that's what gives life meaning, is your follows, your likes, and whatever. Granted, yes, your likes do help the algorithm. I cannot encourage that enough because if you literally can't even contribute, literally a like and a positive comment is a lot. And prayer, it's always tier one. But a lot of people, it's not about getting followers; it's about recruiting fellow doers, right? And
Yeah.
I'm noticing a little bit of a trend where people they like to throw stones at people who are already doing. This is a common trait of a narcissist. Because spiritually speaking, like there's another guy I challenged to a debate, and he's like, "Oh, I need time to prep. I need to do this," but he's always critiquing the stuff that I say. I was like, "Dude, I can go right now. Snap of a finger. Let's go."
Yeah, that's
And you
right.
don't want to do that. But then he's always
Yeah.
saying, "Don't worry, you'll eventually get it." I'm like, "I'll eventually get it." I was like, "Dude, I look on your profile right now, and you still got Christmas trees up." And you're telling me I have followers because I bash Trump and they're all liberals. No, we don't do that. I was like, it's kind of like Wakanda. We don't do that here. We don't do statism. We don't do pagan holidays. A lot of them are fall. Again, there might be one or two that slip through, but I don't favor left or right. I get rid of the
Yeah.
the the excess, especially when they start. Again, they're looking. I will give you answers. If you're here to troll me with your inquiry, which a lot of Pharisees will do, or when somebody's asking me a question, I'm like,
Yeah,
you're asking it for this reason. You're not asking because you generally want to learn.
right.
Um,
Right.
It's a
And
trap.
again, it's not, oh, I know all the wisdom. Come to the holy guru on top of the mountain. No, that's not even my intent. The thing is, if you genuinely want to start going somewhere, I said this way back in the day. If you want to stand out, you first got to stand up. And a lot of people are throwing stones at the people that are standing up. They picked up their cross and they're working. And that's what I see with the world. A lot of them are still in the mentality of, throw my sticks and stones at Christ as he's walking by. Why? Because he's the victim getting punished by the state today, but he's actually the one going through with that for all of humanity. And you may not like me, you may not appreciate me, you may hear a different narrative about me, but who am I when you knew me? And veer back to what you were saying. I think my greatest gripes is that too many people are sitting there worrying now, or they're consuming conspiracy theories as opposed to taking it as prophecy and asking yourself, if I am now indwelled with God's word, what do I play in that? What is my part to contribute? Like everybody has a verse on stage, or as Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage. I counter and add to that, and if all the world is a stage, shouldn't everyone learn how to act? I'm very
Yeah, I
of
love that.
the Dead Poet Society. I think out of all the characters Robin Williams portrayed, that is one that I truly align myself with. Get on the desk, stand up, and do something stupid. Ask yourself a carpe diem question. What can you contribute today? Can you hear the echoes of your ancestors? I'm not saying like worship your ancestors, but what they contributed,
Yeah.
carrying the baton for keeping the truth alive, what they went through for the persecution to give us the truth so we can come to conclusions on our own today. That is what I'm asking for Christians, is to get up, stop being scared, stop projecting your insecurities, thinking you can't do it like Moses, right? We're always watching the movies, and Carlton Heston will come up there and be like, Moses, let my people go. And Aaron just sits there like a dumb mouthed little person in the corner. No, Aaron was the one speaking. That's why Aaron went there, right? So if you feel like you don't have the gift, sponsor somebody who does. If you feel like I can't do that, I have one lady, she gives me bookmarks. I love the bookmarks. I read a lot. That's beautiful. Do
Aw.
something to encourage, do something to help somebody. Stop sitting in fear, because what the Antichrist doesn't like is us saying we don't care. We're not afraid of you. Antichrist makes war against the saints. He wants to wear out the saints. But if we're still happy, we're still positive, we're still speaking truth, we wish no ill harm towards anybody, what does that do? That's what Christ was.
Yeah.
So that's my
Yeah,
takeaway is start
I love
embracing
that.
who you are as the word of God, or speakers of the word of God, and take on that mantle, the Elijah spirit. Don't be afraid. Don't condemn other people. Start saying, Lord, work on me, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
As you
yeah,
get in Isaiah, he's looking for vessels, just like with demons. They're looking for vessels to possess. So is Christ. He's saying, or God, whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord, send me. I'll be a vessel. I'll speak. I'll say what you need me to say. And if I don't, the rocks will cry out in praise. But that is what we're supposed to be doing as a ecclesia, is coming together and speaking truth until they don't want it anymore, as we get in Revelation 18:23. But that's what I would
I love that. And
lovingly impart towards
as
people.
a
Go ahead.
theater nerd, I resonate with that very deeply. I'm fired up. Like I did theater from age 5 until 20, and now I'm a Christian. It's like I'm built for this. So,
Thank you.
um,
Theater, that was my ultimate inspiration. I really wanted to bring several ideas. I have universes in here. I'll explain it to people, and they'll be like, "What show is that?" No, that's my imagination.
Nice.
Dude, that would be epic. I'm like, I know. And I'm doing this for ungrateful people when I want to put something on a screen. You
I
know?
know.
yeah. Yeah.
It
I
really
think,
it
yeah, well, I
hurts.
want to help you with
Well,
that.
Michael's a
Yeah.
filmmaker, so you
Oh
guys
yeah?
should talk about it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely,
I
dude.
got my
Tell
second,
stories, man.
our second feature is going to be coming out. We need audience members for it.
Yeah.
But Richard Pryor's son, Mason Pryor, he's a great guy, and he's in it. And we shot it in black and white, and it's a comedy movie. It's just stupid. It's just a stupid comedy movie.
Isn't Stephen Pryor had a kid? That's the black comedian actor,
Yes,
right?
A
yes.
comedian actor,
He was
yeah, and
part of the Shriners,
he
so
has lots
careful.
of kids.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Well,
He
so
was a
he's
Prince
got
Hall Freemason.
you
He has lots
guys,
of kids.
Oh,
you guys. They're
What? He
they're
was.
they're great people, some of them.
Some of them. Well, that's the thing is like a lot of them do have good intentions. It's just
Yeah.
I understand the inversion
Yeah.
of it, just like a Muslim. And
Yeah.
I'm over here saying I'd actually be willing to talk to you, like, but a lot of
Yeah.
times you're saying you can't talk to them. Why?
But
I
see
don't
that,
hold it
yeah.
against his son. I don't hold
I
it against his son. His son's great.
Same, same,
Yeah.
same.
I was talking to a guy at the comedy store one time, and I was like, it was like after COVID, I was like, yeah, I didn't know all the stuff that was going on in this town. He's like, well, what are you talking about? I'm like, all this like Masonic stuff. And he's like, oh, I'm a Freemason. I go, oh, what degree are you? He's like 32nd. So we talk for like an hour. And to me, it's like me growing up Catholic.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know everything going on, Michael, with your organization?
Yeah.
Nope. I sure don't. You guys probably don't either. That type of thing.
Poor guy.
There's so much that's very witchy about Catholicism, and you
Oh,
don't
And Mason.
really you
Yeah.
don't get into
I
that.
know. But I did want to share this documentary that I was working on because I didn't really know how to end it. And it's like really deep and wild. But I was basically told not to, um, well, if I do a documentary, I want to be truthful, but I didn't want to get killed over it. So, so I just kind of didn't
Gray
finish
state.
it. What's that?
You don't want to be another gray state?
Oh, another what?
It's a guy.
Great.
There's a guy who did a dystopian future of basically what's going to happen with the Masons take control. It's called the Gray
Who?
State, and he got off in Minnesota. Like they killed his wife, his family, his
Wow.
schoolgirl, and the dog. Yeah,
When was
they killed the
this?
dog.
And the
Uh,
movie's out?
Wow.
Is that movie
he
out?
did. They did a trailer, the Gray State, and no, they never
And they
released it.
never
But the
released
trailer
it.
is still up on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. Or you could
Yeah.
find it maybe on like BitChute, one of the darker what Internet Archive,
That's
whatever. Which
crazy.
just got bought out by the CIA, if I'm not mistaken.
Whoa.
Yeah, dude. Like
Dang.
again, there's a scene where the guy's in the garage and stuff like that, but the person's walking up to one of the people that they've captured, and it glances even in the trailer, he's wearing the Masonic apron and like wearing like an executioner's hat, and it's like, oh
What?
shoot, you actually are like you're going full hog for the roots. You're not swinging at branches. And I'm like, yeah, no wonder they took you out because Gray State, what's gonna happen? Yeah, it's
Wow. So
Whoa.
what do you think, Brandon? Like, are we gonna see the end times in our lifetime, or do you think they're like trying to bring that about in order to control us? Like it's another level of control that they're
yes and
going.
no. I think in part, a lot of them kind of see the handwriting on the wall, and I think they actually are terrified of Christians, the real ones. That is
Yeah.
why they censor us. That is why they are scared of people connecting,
Hmm.
and connecting the dots.
Yep.
Because if it wasn't, the propaganda would not be so radical, amped up the way that it is. They would not be boosting
Yeah.
algorithms in favor of the stories they want and censoring others. Um, I think that speaks in and of itself, and as well with the building of bunkers, they genuinely are terrified that their plan either won't succeed and or the wrath of God will come down upon them. Either or, because if their plan doesn't succeed, oh crap, they're all going to be coming gunning for us, and I'm going to need to to stay down here for 10 to 20 years until they all die off and or
I think
you know
that's why they have their hands in so many different honey pots and like they've got, you know what I mean? They've got their bases covered on so many different levels
yeah.
because they're just like they're playing like 5D chess and
Well,
they have
imagine if
everything.
they do believe in biblical cosmology, which I do believe they do.
Oh yeah.
They
Yeah.
literally got nowhere else to go. I have to dig down to the people that I worship and serve in order to feel safe. I can't get out of here.
Yeah.
That's the irony of all of this is that they have to dig themselves into the dirt like freaking moles where we're over here saying, I'm not scared of you. I'm genuinely not scared of you. Come out here,
I
prophet of Baal.
know.
Let's
I
tango. Come
know.
on. Let's go atop of Mount Carmel. Let's try to do that sacrifice. Guarantee you, your God's asleep. Mine's going to freaking keep on doing what he's got to do. What I'm seeing with these people is that they are genuinely trying to recruit as many imbeciles and dummies as they can for their new world
Yeah.
order because the souls or the vessels that they give their masters basically that is their currency for currying favor with these fallen entities. In
Yeah. Yeah.
exchange, what is Christ looking for? Did you save at least, or not them save themselves, but like, did you reach one person? Did you try to feed somebody as the testimony of me? Right? Did you try to give 5 loaves, 2 fish? Give me the bare minimum of what you got today. I'll take care of the rest, right? Because we always say, put your faith in God, he'll take care of the rest. What did he tell us? Make disciples of all nations. That's putting faith in us. And again, the master, he gave us
Yes.
talents. 10, 5, 1. Guy made me 10. He gave me 20. The other guy who got 10, 20 or 5, whatever, he made me 10. You? I hit it.
Yeah.
What?
I love that
Like,
parable.
again, that's putting faith in us and like the trust. Like I said, Old Testament user terms of agreement, and then you have New Testament updated user terms of agreement.
That's right.
And this is what we're supposed to be implementing. So, yeah, summary. No, I don't. I think yes and no. I think Armageddon isn't really going to kick in probably till 2032, but they're going to orchestrate an World War III like scenario for 27. I highly suspect, and I would even be willing to venture that it would happen in October because that's our 10th month, right?
Hmm.
And Oct means eight.
Oh
33.
yeah.
Hmm.
And I
Oh
would
yeah,
almost
yeah.
even surmise that it would be a finalization of the Abrahamic Accords at the Giza pyramids, right? And then because this would then fulfill if they had to like run him into the pyramid to like hide him or whatever, and they just found something over there. The verse in Matthew 24, if they say he's in the inner chambers, because allegedly that was where Hermes' body was buried.
Oh, wow.
There's an
In
attempted
Giza.
assassination. Yeah, like
Whoa.
they're actually speculating. I've been reading about this. They're actually saying that the original story of Kufi or whatever who it was, that's probably false, and they really don't know who built the pyramids. I would almost venture to guess that it's the unholy trinity of Babylon: Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. I'm just speculating
Wow.
here, but I was like, that would make a
That'd
lot
be
of
really cool.
sense. Because
So to
go ahead.
add on to that, you've probably heard of the Travis Scott concert in Houston where people died
Yeah,
and he like encouraged it and in like he didn't stop it.
right.
Like they have a clip of him holding the microphone and he's like watching them and he's not saying, "Hey, hey, help them." And like, I don't know how many people died, probably 6 or 13, but it
Huh.
was between 6 and 13. So anyway, Travis Scott wanted to do a concert in Egypt where the
Huh.
pyramids were. The Egyptian government said no. They were the government. They were like, no, do not bring your energy here.
You curse this place, man. I'm just saying.
So if the Egyptian government is saying no, there's something there. There's something to it.
Well, allegedly they gave Trump a huge, generous donation too, because there was money that was basically, I think it was Johnny Harris was talking about this particular thing, but allegedly a lot of money that was from a particular private bank of U.S. currency money. It was three, four guys came to pick it up in a van. The next thing you know, Trump is pretty chummy with the dictator over in Egypt.
Really?
Yeah, and then when they were trying to cross-reference his books, when like the DOJ was going after him, yeah, the whole lot of corruption was going on there. I was like, okay, and you really don't have an answer where this money came from. Like, this is total bribery. This is like you should not be running for president now because you just broke a law of getting a bribery bid for the presidency. And again, do we know about this? No. But again, I was thinking, spiritually speaking, maybe there's
Yeah.
even a connection with the Egyptian connection. The Egyptian
Yeah.
connection, that almost sounds like an Agatha Christie novel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
well,
a good
that
story.
they're all obsessed with with Egypt, with ancient Egypt, like all of them. And Donald Trump in his Trump Tower penthouse, he had a mural, he had artwork all over the place, all dedicated to Apollo. He was
Sun God.
very much into Apollo, and
Yeah.
Apollo is like the Greek equivalent of Osiris.
Yeah, yes and no. Sol Invictus as well, where we actually get the
Yeah.
etymology for soldier, soul, sun god, dire, one
Mm.
who is to die, sun god. So basically soldier, someone to die for the sun god, destined to die for the sun god. I was like, wow. But Sol Invictus heliocentricism, where we get globe Earth from. He
Yeah.
has a he has a chariot riding from east to west. When you look up Trump, there's like Trump meets East meets West. There's like 5, 6, 7 articles all with that specific title in there.
Yeah.
Statue of Liberty with the spiked crown, Corona. Yeah,
Whoa.
there's connection. So Apollo, so
Wow.
the sun god worship. Yeah, there is a connection, but not necessarily an equivalent per se with Nimrod.
Okay. Okay.
I would veer more so into the Tammuz mythos.
Interesting. Yeah.
Sun
Yeah.
god worship, son of god worship. Again, Catholicism.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
Catholics, if
this
you're listening, we probably
I
just pissed you off.
I love talking to you because you just like everything's right up our alley. We are totally
Yeah,
on the
I'm
same
jamming here.
page.
I don't
That's
have to
awesome.
over explain because you guys already know most of the stuff.
You need to come back for sure.
For sure.
What do you guys like what do you suggest for people who like how should we is there anything that people should be doing to prepare investments financially? Like do
If
you have
if
thoughts
if,
on that?
if anything, I don't want to be that guy as like a doomsday like declaration, then everybody follows me and ends up being like a Jim Jones and everybody pisses on me and gets mad at me. But if we are encroaching end times, like I gave up my 401k and savings doing what I do. Why? Because I felt called to do it, and the Ecclesia's been keeping me going for like 2.5 years, longer than I thought possible. Like I'm a limping
Whoa.
tire on the highway, but I'm still going, based on the generosity, especially of the few. And that is really making me go, guys. If it's all going to burn in the end, like nationalism, why are we defending the embers of empires that are all destined to fall? I don't get this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why aren't you
Yeah,
putting all your
exactly.
chips on the table at this point? Like, if you're not going to live to collect, why aren't you just going to say, you know what, before the economy crashes, I'm going to cash in too? Okay, what are you going to do with it? That's a really good question, right? Do you feel like you have to start a mission? Do you want to go off grid and join a community? Like, imagine if everybody does that in masse. And again, if we're in end times, prior to this, I would argue, yes, pay your taxes while you're here. But if we're encroaching the end times, and we already had 32 million Christian Americans not vote in the fall election this last time,
32 million.
32 million who claims to be Christian did not vote.
Wow.
Imagine that as a force in masse, all saying, I'm not paying you anymore. And then they start going to the mountains and the high places, like, come out of her, my people, lest you receive of her plagues. Now, granted,
Yeah, yeah. I
spiritually,
wish
but that is
it's not that
physically.
I don't have anything against people who don't vote at all, but like imagine if we could do that with other things. Like if we
Yeah,
could actually take that because that's the
momentum.
thing is we actually do have so much more control of our reality than than they make us feel.
Hmm.
We collectively consent to this is why it's happening. As a collective we consent to it. So if we actually took that consent away like on mass like you said like that, it would be awesome. Yeah.
Overnight. And imagine the sensation of people just looking at you going, well, why aren't you wearing the blue ribbon? Because I said I'm not doing it anymore. I just support humanity. I don't support government. And if they want to come and find 32 million people, let's think about it, folks. They have to hire a whole bunch of more ICE agents because they didn't have enough, right? They had to
Yeah.
get other agencies to help ICE do what they're doing with the border security. They're
And the
literally getting
recruiting
postmen.
efforts are not working, I
Yes,
think.
they're
It's
literally
not
getting
working.
postmen to assist with this. Now
Yeah.
imagine you're off, like really now, but this is how short they are on numbers. So what they need for about a year and a half, at least, to train them and get them experience before they go after Christians, right? Then they would need assistance with the robot army, say with all that. But they still are grossly undernumbered with all of this. And even if you want to say that one per robot is like the equivalent of 8 strong men, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of engineers that could think of some pretty crafted Vietnam like crap to make these things go kaboom or, to make them non functional anymore. I mean, it says the Antichrist is going to make war against the saints. He doesn't say he's going to round them all up and collect them. Doesn't say, again, I'm not saying that's not going to be possible. I'm not saying
Right.
that persecution can't happen. What I'm saying is war is a specific word that is used, which means that is a resistance. That means a
Mhm.
fight. And whether that
Yeah.
means we are indwelled with the gift of the two witnesses, all saints, not just you, me, or whatever, because somebody said I said that, and I said, no, I said all saints. I think that is a huge probability because, again, why would we be putting two cameras on somebody over by, like, the Wailing Wall, quote unquote, and film them for 3 days? Whereas if you took out somebody and their bodies are literally laying on every single continent all over the world, and people are walking past them, they're liquidating the assets of said individuals and trading it in for Bitcoin value. People are exchanging gifts when these people are dead. Why would you just say, why are we all looking over into the Holy Land? No, it'd literally probably be out in the freaking parking lot, right? They're just there, and then they all just disappear and go up, right? All the Christians just go. So I would almost argue that people really should just start saying, you know what? I don't know what the camp of the saints is, but there's something I found interesting with that number, the 144,000.
Yeah.
144,000 is the natural genomes of your body before you got the special injection from 2020. Every parent contributes 88,000 apiece to this. When you got the injection, you basically added a triple helix to your DNA. Operation Warp Speed, the speed of light, is 144,000. On the chakra, when you add up all the leaf pebbles from there all the way going up the staff or whatever it is, it's 144,000. So I'm going Operation Warp Speed.
Oh.
When we are born, there is a spark of light that happens when the sperm meets the egg. When Christ is saying, if you were in the Word, you know the light that is within me. If you Pharisees, you read God's Word, thy word is a lamp unto my feet, you would understand who I am, but you really don't. When he's talking to the blind man in Bethsaida, right? Everybody here today has been rejecting me, but the blind man wants to see. Let me show you what I'm telling my disciples all the time. What do you see? Men like trees walking. That's right. The word of God. This is what I see every single day. Everybody having a chance to be engrafted back into the tree of life, which is God's word. And everybody walking around right now don't understand how they could be potentially grafted in. But this is what I see. And I'm giving you a double portion gift today of what the Holy Spirit sees. Now here's your regular eyesight back. Whoa, yeah, right? We just read that in the Bible. It's like, do you understand what that just implies? Like, I tell my disciples this all the time, and they really don't get it yet because it's parable stage. But this is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
That, what I'm seeing with fellow Christians, is that if you do have this two witnesses kicking in, start prepping for it. Find out where you're supposed to go at the camp of the saints, because I truly think there's something significant with that. And if Christians, again, I'm a covenantalist, not a dispensationalist, which means it continues on with God's people, the ones that are actually, continuing on with obeying his word. That is where I see where we're going. Whether I'm right or wrong, we'll find out. But I have faith without knowing, and I'm just prepping my house and putting it in order. I'm ready to go off grid at a moment's notice. Probably be a teacher in the community.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow. Well, that's really inspiring, Brandon. Thank you so much for talking with us.
That's what we call a closer.
Keep going all night. I could keep going all night, but we got our son to tend to. So, but yeah, it's really fun.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Tell us how can people follow you to find out more and learn about everything you do?
Daily podcast, Spotify, Rumble, YouTube, and if you can, Patreon, and you can customize it. There's a 10 for what I have there, but you can do like 3, you could do 2, you could do $1, really. Every ounce
counts. Way.
People really do. Yeah,
that's
people
awesome.
Don't know that every ounce counts, and whatever you contribute helps me to, research and whatever. And then Krollology, like you see on the screen, if you're watching, KROLL-ology, _101 Instagram. And I think that's all of it. Oh, and then I have a threadless link for merch. So like this shirt.
Oh yeah, I love that shirt.
Which is an anti-statist shirt. Daniel, I love that.
Basically, so are you willing to pray even when the king says you can't do it like that anymore? It's, you know what? I'm going to keep worshiping God. Thank you very much. I'm going to dare to be a Daniel and willing to go to the lion's den if need be.
Nice.
I love that. So. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Brandon. It was good talking to you.
Likewise.
Yeah. Thanks for being our first guest, buddy.
I know. This is so great.
First, I feel honored.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you for listening to Never Forget a Hidden Histories podcast. We'll catch you next time.
All right. See you, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Never Forget Hidden History podcast. Email us at neverforgethh@gmail.com. Follow Heidi on TikTok and Instagram and me as well at michael.gilkison. Heidi Rachel Brown. And any other handles? Okay. Thanks for listening, everybody. You're coming back to me, but I know that you're gone, so I fall till I fall. Yeah, I fall till